There are some theories that suggest that Tesla might have been killed over his invention of the particle weapon. And certainly there are a lot of people who suggest that Tesla's papers and notes for a particle beam weapon were stolen so that nefarious governments could work on them.
So when he passed away, he took his secrets to the afterlife. However, the Russians, who had previously bought some of his blueprints, as well as the US, who had extracted through the FBI whatever work Tesla kept in his Colorado Springs laboratory, had cracked most of his riddles as time progressed and have managed to weaponize the Tesla scalar wave effects. After the atrocities of 2 world wars, and with an ever-expanding technological advancement, world leaders have started considering ways in which they could limit or put an end to global conflicts. In 1975, during the SALT talks, Leonid Brezhnev, General Secretary of the Soviet Union at the time, had stressed that the development of new war weapons should be drastically limited because they have already become more frightening than the mind of man had imagined.
The German government took death rays very seriously.
The Nazis probably would have been interested in the particle beam weapon as one of several devices that they could use to terrorize another population.
The U.S. was engaged in fighting Hitler and the Nazis and trying to take over the world. So weapons such as a death ray being developed by Tesla, falling into the wrong hands, could have been devastating.
Needless to say, most of the weapons in cause pertained to Tesla. His superweapon, dubbed Teleforce, was fully operational under the Soviet Union as early as the 70s. Now called the Saryshagan howitzer, the humongous Tesla scalar interferometer was exactly as Tesla had described it. It encompasses 4 modes of operation. The first one is the Tesla shield. It runs continuously and generates a thin, impenetrable hemispherical wall of energy over a selected area. It has defensive purposes and works as follows. By interfering 2 Fourier-expansions and 3-dimensional scalar hemispherical patterns in space, they join into a dome-like shield of electromagnetic energy. Air molecules and atoms trapped inside are fully ionized, displaying an intense and vivid light. Any physical object that attempts to pass through this shield will receive a considerable discharge of electrical energy and will be vaporized in an instant. By stacking these energetic shells, they will deter any gamma radiation or EMPS coming its way. The second mode is more offensive. Utilizing 2 truncated Fourier transformers, the device shoots a 3-dimensional scalar 5-field pulse. A second pulse is then released, traveling at a faster velocity and overtaking the first one, merging into a deadly EMP of electromagnetic energy. The third mode is the same pulse variation ran continuously. Thus, 2 continuous scalar waves are sent forward, merging into vector energy at their target destination. According to some researchers, this is the exact way in which Tesla planned to transmit wireless energy, and also the weapon would annihilate hundreds of aircrafts and entire armies. The final mode, dubbed Time Squeeze, will let the user play with things like anti-gravity, dematerialization and materialization, transmutation, and it provides a great deal of medical benefits. Other effects may include subliminal and superliminal communication, seeing through Earth and the ocean, as well as reaching higher orders of reality. This is apparently possible because the human being has, between his ears, a Tesla scalar interferometer. This tiny biological device accounts for most parapsychological phenomena. It can also be triggered naturally through practice and meditation.
Today, if you were to look at one of those satellite images that shows you how the world is lit up at night, 95% of the electricity that you see in that picture, all of those lights, is distributed by alternating current And one night he realized that he was not only getting currents through the earth, but he was also getting a consistent signal. First 1 beep, then 2 beeps, and 3 beeps as he listened on a telephone receiver.
The public was fascinated by this account because it made the headlines in major newspapers around the world that somehow Tesla was in communication with outer space.
Without Tesla's invention of alternating current technology, it would be a much darker and quieter world.
The technology behind Tesla's weapons is nothing new to modern man. They fall in the category of directed energy weapons, or DEWs, which are long-range weapon systems that inflict damage at a selected target by emitting powerful, focused bursts of energy. These emissions are either laser, microwaves, or particle beams. With such weapons at the disposal of world powers, it's easy to understand why another world war hasn't broken out by now. With his daring plan to arm all nations with this superweapon, it appears that Nikola Tesla has reached one of his end goals of establishing long-lasting peace between nations. Now, we can only wait and see when the world governments will release Tesla's ultimate secret of free energy.